Hello, Culminators. I am really excited. You knew I was going to say that, right? But to be fair, when I say that, you realize I'm almost never excited. It's just something that you say. But I am as pleased, though. I'm pleased because today, joining us on the podcast, besides this wayward collar, is the one and only Carpe Donktum.
How you doing, Ron?
Logan Cook. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
This is you, right? This is you. This is one of yours.
Yeah, that was the first one I ever did.
That was my guess, ladies and gentlemen. How President Trump plays the media by the great Carpe Donktum. Oh, I guess there's no music because it's YouTube. But we all know this from Bugs Bunny, right? And you want to hum along with it? You remember what the music was?
It's a lot of opera sound. I don't know that you want me to.
Logan Cook, American,
Right.
No special rank, no special training, just a guy who gets the internet, has a great sense of humor. I'm going to throw up another one of my favorite of your great hits. This was, of course, the big hit for you. And this is from, I think, your YouTube page. And no, it's so big. It's so overwhelming, the screen, that I'm not going to use it. Okay. So let's just go back here. Let's share that puppy. And here we are. Okay. So this was so well received in Trump land that you got a tweet from a very, very, very big Twitter account.
Yeah. Trump tweeted this about, I don't know, 5 or 6 times at least.
Five or six times.
It was like his go-to whenever he was mad at the media or whatever. He would just pull that one up
because it did make their heads explode. I think we can all agree,
right?
That was
there was an interaction with Trump and I believe it was the New York Times guys who were saying, "Are you really going to be president forever? Do you think you're going to be president forever?" While he's trying to get onto the helicopter on the front lawn or the back lawn. So,
in fact, and isn't it true, Mr. Cook, that Donald Trump was so impressed with your, what we now know to be, despite the allegations to the contrary, uncompensated, uncoordinated, unofficial support on Twitter, that he gave you a super special opportunity, you and your family. What do we got here?
He did. That is me and my wife, and my son is right there in the foreground, and my 2 daughters, and then my other son is behind me there, but he's a baby. But we took a trip to the Oval Office and spent some time in there. Also, on the left there is my friend Mad Liberals, which you might recognize.
Oh, there he is, right?
Yeah. Yep. Him and his mother were there as well. So,
and
we spent half hour there.
Beautiful. That must have been incredible for you and for the kids.
It was crazy. Yeah. And you know what? I don't have a really good memory of it because it was just, I think it was a little overwhelming.
Oh, in other words, you don't have a clear memory of it.
Yeah, it's not like I have memories from it, but it's not as clear as you would want. It was such a short amount of time. You'd think you could remember everything.
Yeah. How long was it? How long were you in and out?
It was like 30, 35 minutes, something like that. It was a long time in the Oval Office. So,
Did you come away from that meeting with a different sense of who the president was, or was it, hey, he's a professional, he's basically a show business personality. He's half an hour with him, he can put on any face he wants? Or did you feel like you got a sense?
Well, I felt like he was just as you had imagined he would be. Like there didn't seem to be like a, you might meet some people, they're super nice on camera, and then they're sort of cold in person.
Well, that was like when
Or
you and I met in person, right?
right,
We instantly froze. There was really no warmth or affection whatsoever. That would be a good
right.
example.
Well,
But that's
obviously,
we've maintained that level of relationship,
yeah,
which is very special.
right, exactly, yeah. And I honestly think that he was exactly how I imagined he'd be. I mean, down to like, I think even in that picture, he's got his hands like this, and he's you can just tell that he's telling a story right in the middle of that picture, which he is, I'm sure.
And I mean, so you were at the social media
Right. Yeah. That's
thingy.
where we first met that weekend.
That's what I thought. As a son of a gun, I'm trying to log into the time. So that, I mean, that was such an incredible experience. That was in July of 2020.
2019.
It was 2019. So
2019, yeah.
we actually thought at the time that there was some chance that something good might happen for the social media scene, and
We were
that's
so young
something,
and naive then.
you know. Do you doubt it that we have aged? New York Times. Trump rolls out the red carpet for right-wing social media trolls. Trolled the New York Times.
Now,
Now, was this before or after your visit? This was after, right?
this was the week after.
The week after.
Yeah,
So
it was a big week.
that was such an incredible trip. That was such an incredible experience. And I got invited because of Ali.
Yeah.
And I knew Ali. Well, I knew Ali for years. And before he became public enemy number one, he was just kind of a guy who no one really quite figured out how he made a living, but he seemed to always be in the mix of things. And that is still true. He's not a criminal. But he felt strongly. He had some influence in the White House at that time. I don't know who his people were. This stuff eludes me.
Yeah.
I'm never connected. That's what Harmeet does in our firm. Being connected is what Harmeet does, but her interests in being connected are very different from mine.
That was the first time I met her as well. I believe that we sat in a
yes.
room beforehand, with several other people. And
yes, actually,
yeah.
that was the first. She and I had never met either, and this is the famous Harmeet Dillon tweet after I sent her. But just guys, you don't mind if we just discuss all the times here, right?
No, that's fine.
So this is Harmeet's tweet back when she liked me. A couple of, because she wasn't my partner yet. A couple of civil rights lawyers walk into the White House and ... Ron Coleman.
Right.
And that was because we had worked together either indirectly and a little bit directly for years. But
Right.
the first time we had met in person, and when she got up there on the stage, when we were all in the room, I personally wanted to strangle her because I wanted to be the guy on the stage.
Right.
And watching the fact that she's the hyper committed, hyper connected international figure make her any better than me. Well, probably because she's the hyper committed, hyper connected international figure, but fine.
She's the regular guest on Tucker Carlson, right?
Well, that was before I mean, she has absolutely, I mean, wow, that has become
Right.
such a thing. In any event, it was a super cool weekend, and we really did think, I mean, and the president even sort of suggested that some kind of initiative, some kind of protection, some kind of pressure would come to protect people from what ultimately happened to you. Okay, let's now take a step back before I get to what happened to you, which again,
I do want to mention, do you remember the sort of ominous tone though there was in that meeting as well?
Ominous coming from him, or ominous
coming coming from Dan Crenshaw. Do you remember Dan Crenshaw speaking?
Yes, I
And he
do.
got up there and basically said, "Hey, you guys need to suck it up. It's not that bad."
I don't remember that. That was
That's what
what,
I remember.
and you consider that to have been ominous?
Well, it
Ominous.
was
In other words, in retrospect, it's ominous because we
yeah,
see what he was really about.
right. And but he got up there and he basically he's in a room full of people that are surviving on the internet, and he's basically like, "You guys just need to suck it up. It's gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine." But and that cemented my dislike for Crenshaw. But
Did you already have a certain suspicion about his reliability?
well, I don't make judgments until somebody actually shows me. Like I'll give people the benefit of the doubt, and I was still giving him the benefit of the doubt at that time, but wasn't too long after that. Go ahead.
Go ahead. He said, well, let's take a step back. Before you became the wicked meme master and what's the word again? Doctor, the doctorer.
Right.
Doctor, is it doctorer or doctorer?
I don't think it's been clearly defined, but it's the doctor of videos, I think.
Right, but
Is what
video
it is,
doctor, media doctorer, and misinformationist. What'd you do all day?
yeah. Well, like it depends on how far back you want to go. Like, I used to work at Sears. I used to be a department manager in Sears for
Which
about
department?
5-6 years. Several departments. I did like tools, and then I also did like
I'm glad to hear it.
appliances.
I wanted to hear tools because for me that was the only reason to go to Sears.
Right.
I mean, and of course, suits for court. Nothing, no special media training, no special
No.
marketing. How did you stumble into becoming a meme guy?
Um, I think sort of by accident. You know, actually I would say honestly. So I played kickball.
Have
Right.
you
I
been
played.
dishonest until just now? Just it's
Are
okay, but I
am I
just need to know
protected
that.
by attorney-client privilege here?
Oh
Can I
yeah,
just can
sure.
I?
No, this. No, listen, no one watches these. Okay, so this is entirely private between us.
I think that when I used to play adult kickball. So adult kickball is basically
No
like
clothing,
adults.
right?
No, you wear clothes.
Oh, because usually adult means dirty. I mean,
No, adult means you can drink beer and all that stuff.
and fouling is allowed.
Well, there's not a lot of opportunity to foul in kickball.
No,
But
there really isn't. Or the idea, I mean, really, now that I think about it, the idea of adult, and you use the same kind of rubber
yeah, it's the
kickball ball.
same as kickball, but you can drink and you're an adult.
Okay, go on,
So
go
so
on.
so so I played that for several years during the summer, and I started doing some funny stuff with people would take pictures, and I would Photoshop the pictures, and I would make all the rest of my teammates laugh. And then the election started going on, like 2016, 2015, and I started getting more involved in politics again, and um I sort of thought, hey, I could do the same thing that I was doing with that and make people on the internet laugh.
So you're someone who was always comfortable with the technology. You're an early adopter.
Right.
You download an app and just figure out how to use it. Really,
I had Twitter since 2008. So that was pretty early on.
yeah, that's a year before me.
Yeah, it's a year after the thing started, and I didn't have it before that because I didn't really understand it, but I figured it out, and I really didn't use it much until 2015. I got started with images, and
Oh,
then
static
and then
images.
I static images, and then
Yeah.
I realized that I could also do editing of videos, and that's when I think that's when I really came into my own. There is when I started doing that, and that first video that you showed, the Maestro one, took me probably a month because I was doing it all frame by frame because I didn't have good software yet. So
All right. So explain to me what you used when you like you're doing it frame by frame using what at that time?
I was using GIMP, which is basically free. Yeah, it's free Adobe Photoshop,
Mhm.
and I found a plugin where you could import a video and all of the frames, and you could just move between the frames. And so I was going in there with just like a cutout of a head and moving it around, and then erasing part of it, and then going on to the next frame and doing the same thing.
Oh my gosh, that took
So
you said that probably took you about a month, right?
it was like 3 weeks, and it was intensive 3 weeks. It was like 8 hours a day for 3 weeks.
And then you figured out there's got to be a you said to yourself there's got to be a
Then
better
I
way.
found then I found After Effects, and that changed everything there. So
Having After Effects it makes it easier to do video memes.
well, it's real video editing software.
Got it.
It's
And
real stuff.
and you taught yourself.
Yeah, I got that and started working on it. You can learn anything you want to learn on YouTube or anywhere on the internet.
True, although you have to have a certain amount of patience.
Well, I found, you learn one thing at a time. So, for this video, this is what I want to do. So I learn how to do that. And then the next video, I take what I learned from before and I say, well, now I want to add this to it. And you learn how to do that. And then, do that 100 times and you've got 100 new skills.
And those skills, it turns out, did you think that they might actually lead you to being able to make a living from doing this kind of thing, or at least contribute to making a living?
No, not that
Not
was
for
not some
not for a second.
no, that was not something I thought about at all.
Why not? Why the hell wouldn't you?
I don't
Are
know. I
you
just didn't consider it. It was just it was a hobby. It was something that I thought was fun. And I mean, it's still technically a hobby. I don't do a lot of contract work or anything like that. So, and most of the stuff I do anyway, I just do for friends. So, they just happen to be more important friends, I guess.
so where? Well, okay. So you have some. Do you have some more important friends now? What kind?
Oh,
What,
I've got friends all over the place. Like I have a ridiculous amount of friends that I never thought I would have before. So
even though, so when you were all right. So actually, we should make it clear. But you got banned from Twitter.
I did.
And were you banned over the racist baby meme? Was that what did it?
Yes. The official story was that I had too many copyright violations. That was the last copyright violation that I had gotten. And
of course we know that there was no copyright violation at all.
in black and white in a court ruling. So there was no, so that yes, the last copyright violation I had was fraudulent, which is what I said right away.
But Twitter really didn't give a hoot.
It didn't matter because I didn't use you for this. I think I used a different lawyer for it, but I had another lawyer.
I think I actually
You recommended somebody else to me.
Yes, and I think I pushed you off.
And I did 6 or 7 like officially drafted by a lawyer
counter notices.
Notices, and they all were ignored.
Is that's the thing about Twitter? I mean, I have a Twitter, not the thing about Twitter, it's the thing about almost everyone now. My recollection as a man of as what Rush used to call a seasoned citizen, which is I think I'm officially becoming about that. I think of Microsoft as the first company that said, you're going to pay money for something you need that we're going to sell you and have no expectation whatsoever of support. Zero. Right. And of course, Twitter, many people say things along the lines of, well, Twitter doesn't charge you anything. Well, it doesn't charge me money to be a user, but it does induce me to come onto its platform to follow a set of somewhat vague but nonetheless spelled out rules that I think I can follow.
Right.
And if it's someone like you, I'm going to cause a tremendous amount of engagement. I'm going to bring people onto the platform who otherwise might never have come onto the platform because they're hearing about some fun thing that's going on or some
Right.
newsworthy thing that's going on. I'm going to give all this value away. So that is what we lawyers call consideration. It doesn't have to be money that you take from my account. It just has to be something that I do that you benefit from, or something that I refrain from doing that I would have done.
Well, you're also the product on social media.
And then that's the other point, which is that if you're not paying for it, you're not the customer, you're the product.
Right.
And I have argued, as you know, that consumer laws should protect users of social media platforms the same way anyone else who asks you to participate in some program for their benefit and induces you again to make an investment and to rely on an understanding should be protected from having these expectations dashed. Twitter, following this, now 20 some odd years of digital customer relations savvy, says we're simply not answerable to you, and
Right.
we'll interpret the rules the way we want to. We'll ban whom we want to. We will not ban whom we don't want to whom we don't want to ban. Old news. You and I have talked about this a million times. People,
in 2 years, they have not ever responded to me. I filed like about every 2 months, I'll file an appeal just for fun, and they won't even reject it. It just goes into the ether and disappears. they don't even have they don't even want to give me a reason. People get letters and stuff saying we've reviewed your account and we've stuck by our decision. They don't even do that to me. They just ignore it and pretend like it didn't happen.
Every couple months, you send them your appeal, and it just goes off into the ether. They completely ignore it. You're a non-person.
Yeah, I don't even get a declination letter, or they don't even send it back to me and say, yeah, we're sticking by our decision. It just disappears.
Well, that would be like acknowledging that you're a human being.
Right.
Sorry, I mean, I don't know. First of all, you're doing other stuff now. Before we get on to, I want to make sure not to miss this. You have your locals page, right? Is that sort of the headquarters?
No, honestly, most of what I've been doing has been stuff on Truth. I really don't post much on the locals because I don't think that there's nothing wrong with the platform. I like the platform. It's just not, I don't think it's really tailor made for me, because I don't really like to do paid content. And I think that works a lot better for that platform, is to, this is a paid only video, or this is a paid only podcast or something like that.
It's really tricky, the paid content piece, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I have to admit, I haven't gotten the hang of even breaking even on any of this stuff. I mean, I do it besides the fact that I have fun, and Harmy thinks it's for my, self actualization.
Your self-aggrandizement.
This might be one of the things that I do that is not for self-aggrandizement, because I am so aggrandized. There's really no room for but it's good for SEO. It does drive people to the profile pages that you need. All right. So what you're telling me that is that you are being basic, just as you liked Twitter,
Right.
You like Truth Social.
I do.
And there you are. I better be one of the people you follow.
I think I am following you.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sure you are. I don't actually. Oh, this follows you. See, you're
Yeah.
a winner.
I know.
Yes, you really are. Such the winner. I mean, is that the face of a winner? A happy, smiling, Trumpian winner. Okay, so is it worth it? I mean, you're getting enough engagement that you're at least having fun. 170,000 followers is not for nothing.
I at least get to have fun. on some of the other platforms, I didn't really have fun because I think the engagement is there, and I think that's what's missing from a lot of the alt platforms is that, you know, you get on there and you say something, and even if you say something like really popular, it's just, you know, there's 20 comments
or
or something like
something
that.
something really optimistic like this your last
Yeah,
your last
my last thing.
we want to say tweet, don't we? We want to say tweet.
We do. I do like the fact that you can say RT when, like, if you're gonna say
For
retweet,
retruth.
you know, it's retruth. So, you know, I'll give you something to
You know what the problem is now?
what would it do?
Misinformation.
Right.
I'm not I am just one of the best. Okay. That's the problem with this. But technically, I guess it is, you know, I guess maybe no.
You're in the area of best. How about
Yeah,
that?
I'm in best territory. Uh,
So
so
I guess I like to use truth because it is I do get the engagement. There are some trolls, and that's something that's missing from the other platforms too, is I really like to engage with trolls.
yeah, so the troll stuff is fun.
Right.
And but so people say to me, including people who I work with, why are you bothering? Why are you bothering with that? What do you think that gets you? What do you think that does for you? And, you know, some people knit sweaters,
Mm-hmm.
and some people dance with trolls. Some people,
Yeah.
you know, to me, that's and by the way, my model for that is Kurt Schlichter. That's I learned from Schlichter before he knew who I was.
Mm-hmm.
People sometimes you got to slap down. But punching down is an absolute purpose for punching down.
Yeah, there is, and it's there are a couple things that I really enjoy online. So I really enjoy making a video, having it go viral, and making people laugh. Right, I enjoy that. I enjoy having media companies be super mad at me, and celebrities. I enjoy that. And then the third thing that I really enjoy is just messing with trolls. And it's not just messing with them, because there's also it's strategic too, because when you go and you pull a comment out of context and then you put the quote on top of it, then people follow it back to the original thing to
Yes,
find out what the context is. And so if you spend all your time fighting with trolls, then people won't follow you because you're annoying
right.
and you're just constantly fighting. But if you pick out a couple trolls on a big post, instead of retweeting yourself all the time, you can pull out a comment. You can find that bad comment and you can pull that out, and then
That's
people
right.
still go back to the original comment or the original post.
That's exactly right. So you're using reflected light
Right.
instead of the original light source. I also am trying to explain to people from the activist point of view. Let's start with the premise, and I think in your case it's been proved to be 100% true, that effective social media activism is politically meaningful.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have kicked you off if it were otherwise. And
Yeah, that's the proof of the concept there. Yeah.
so there's some people who say, listen, I've got a message, I know what I want to say. And I always remember Will Chamberlain saying, I don't answer trolls. At most, I'll block them. That's it. I don't deal with it at all. And that's an approach. But I know for a fact that many of the people who follow me want to see how certain, especially when there's like an official line that's come out of the DNC or out of the media, an official formulation that they're all using. They want to see how someone who is skilled at the controversial arts deals with them, because they have to deal with these, you know, one-liners and formulations themselves in real life.
Right.
And I think people are really grateful to see that someone out there is fighting. And also that, and this goes, you know, does your wife ever say, why do men always feel, you know, the whole thing with the aggressive driving, right? Some guy cuts you off. You're probably not like this because you're a real laid back guy. So,
yeah, right.
So she said, well, listen, don't get into a fight. Just let it, listen, I got to teach him a lesson.
Right.
I got to teach him he can't get away with it. Now, that's kind of asinine. Chances are really unlikely. But I do believe that on the internet, like all these Karens who think they can just jump in on on some pre-programmed tweet from Joy Reid or one of these
Right.
dum-dums and just say, yeah, Trump, all his supporters are Nazis and racists. And I'll just kind of slide in there and say, so what is it you think about me, for example, that's Nazi-like? What is it?
Right.
I'm a, and all of a sudden they're shocked. They think they're in safe territory. Why should you feel that you're in safe territory to
Right.
insult millions of your fellow Americans? People want to feel that someone is out there fighting for them, someone with an effective voice.
Well, and yeah, I also think people, like you said, they like to see people interact, and you hit on something there for a second about a pre a pre-posted, or just a tweet that somebody doesn't even make. And there's a lot of people out there that like big influencer type people that don't even really use the platform very much. They post from time to time. I would say Jack Posobiec is one that doesn't do that. I think he posts everything that he does.
And you know how you can tell is that his friends, he will respond to his friends.
Right.
Whereas Megyn Kelly, who follows me,
right,
I could DM her all day long and invite her onto my show. Her people are not responding. I'm not on the list. She follows me.
right.
They decided it's worth following me, but not worth responding to my DMs and my invitations. So that's one way to tell them that.
So when you're in the fight, you show people that like it's actually you sitting there. And people will be like, "Why did you respond to that guy? He has three followers." I'm like, I don't care how many followers he has. I saw his comment and I wanted to say something back, or whatever. But I think people do get too comfortable, especially on Twitter for sure. They get too comfortable just going after sort of these almost robot accounts, because like the Brian Stelters of the world are almost robots, and the people like that they were told by their boss that they need to post the link to the article today and this and that and that, and they can get on there and they be like, yeah, this guy's a Nazi, this guy's this guy that, and there's no pushback from anybody that like has a big voice.
I really do think that there is a morale function for our side, and people need to, because look, by and large, with a few exceptions, and Harmeet is one of them, but the really big leaders in the Republican Party, Matt Gaetz is another exception, they're not scrappy. They don't get down there and fight the fight. They also are doing the press releases and the sort of as much as we favor diversity, that's it. Forget, you lost me already. I'm not interested. Okay. I think it really is discouraging for people. Look, because remember, social media is what is the meat and the dessert and the vegetables. We're not going to get anything nutritious from the mainstream media at this point. So if people don't see the pushback from us, and of course they get getting rid. I mean, listen, what they did to you was just so over the top, indefensible. I mean, they didn't explain. They didn't, like you said, they never reply. So what are you thinking about? In anticipation of what now looks like the likelihood of Elon Musk taking over, anything unique? Do you have any takes on that everyone else isn't saying? I don't mean anyone else, but everyone else.
Well, I don't know if he's gonna get my account back or not, or what he's gonna do. I mean, I'm not one. We talked about Dan Crenshaw. I'm not one to make judgments, but I'm also not one to trust right away. So I think Elon Musk is sort of all over the place. I think he's had a lot of good moments in the last year, communicating with people from across, what we would assume would be across the aisle for him. I just don't think anybody actually knows what he thinks. Like there's too many wheels turning all the time for him. And
this is really the internet polemics stuff is new to
right,
him. It's new.
right. And I think there's lots of people like that. And I think conservatives tend to be, to a fault, ready to embrace people that have, quote unquote, joined their side. With so much, they're like, oh my, I can't believe somebody famous agrees with us. And then they get all butterflies in their stomach, and they're like, oh, this is so great. We're gonna go, skipping down the lane. And then 5 months later, they're like, well, he only agreed with us on this one thing. And it turns out he disagrees with us on 1,000 other things. And so we're gonna throw him out with the bathwater.
Which is a distinct possibility if he is bipolar, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Easy, like Kanye West.
Kanye West is another one that is very similar like that. People jump on that bandwagon,
and then
and
suddenly they're surprised when
right.
he's in a Looney Tunes gear.
And I don't have any specific problems with him other than the fact that I know that he doesn't agree with me on everything. Nobody does agree with me on everything. But
that's a real so what is it with these MAGA heads, all right? I mean, you and I, we've got our MAGA credentials, right? But
right.
if you step off the reservation on any particular issue, or say, yeah, I wonder if Trump is really the right guy for 2024. I know that he was treated unfairly and didn't really get his all the things, but is he our best shot in 2024? Is he the man to take us? They will just torch you. People will. And truth, you must get this a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, if you ever suggest, I mean, you say you might. I don't know if you get it a lot, because I don't know if you're saying that kind of thing.
Well, I don't suggest that a lot, because I don't find it useful to say things I know that my followers are going to be really pissed off about, that I don't know are true yet. Now, if I've come to a decision on something, then I will stick to my thing. But I don't like to just throw myself to the wolves over nothing. Like, I don't know if Trump is the best candidate for 2024 yet. I liked him in 2016. I liked him in 2020. And I liked lots of things he did. But we have some like reality issues going on too, of how old is he going to be when it's time to run, and what's it going to be like when he runs. All of those things are unknown. Well, we know how old he's going to be. We don't know how his health is going to be, all those things. And I've said, anytime somebody asks me, is Trump going to run, which people do constantly, anytime that I've answered that question, it's always been, I have no idea if he's going to run, because 2 years is an eternity in politics. And especially for somebody as old as Trump is. 2 years is the difference between being just fine and being Joe Biden. So it's, answering that question is very hard. But yes, it is part of what I was talking about a few minutes ago, is that there is not the freedom to step outside of what, current MAGA is, without getting lots of arrows in your back. And there was a circumstance, this is a couple of months ago, I think it was during the primary, like Kari Lake's primary, and there was a bunch of people saying some things about voting, I think, and I just basically said, can you show me what the voting fraud is right now? Like, I know we've talked about 2020, and we think we know about these different things, but like, you're just throwing it out there, and you're saying that, oh no, I know what it was. It was Alaska. Alaska has like a special rules on it's like a 3-tiered system of how this ranked voting or whatever. And I was asking just a simple question of, how is this cheating? And people couldn't give me an answer on how it was cheating, but they said it was cheating. And there's a bunch of people that were super mad. They're just, how can you deny it? It's so clear. And I'm like, well, if it's so clear, just explain it to me, that how this is cheating. And nobody was really able to answer that question. But if you even ask the question, you get in trouble.
Maybe let's not shoot to kill on this one. Maybe let's not. Maybe let's accept this acknowledgement by someone who we think of as a rhino, that we might be right on something, without saying, no, you're a rhino, you're impure, you're never going to be
right.
And people say, no, you see what the Democrats know. The Democrats know. They know you never let your opponent off the ground once you have your knee on his neck. They shoot to kill. They only fight to win. And if you go to a liberal's timeline, they say the same exact thing. They say the same exact thing. And the fact of the matter is, you have to be tactical, because like you said, you're never going to agree with anyone all the way through. That Mitch Connell, he's a rhino, he's terrible.
I don't even agree 100% with last year me. So I don't know how I could find somebody that I agree with all the time if I can't even agree with myself over a couple year time period. So
besides me, of course, and you know that's
you and I are the obvious, really, but
two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, I don't quite understand. Well, I do understand, because everything has become team sports now, and instead of, what I'm always trying to look at is what's the right move, not necessarily which team is the right one. Now, I'm not going to go start voting for Democrats, because I don't think they have any of the right ideas about stuff. But within your own team, there can be little splinter teams of things these people are doing right, things these people are doing right.
So what can we do to wipe out libertarians then? I mean, because these are the guys who with their little third party candidacies, ruin so many potential victories for conservatives. I mean, do you think there's anything that we, given our values, can do to temporarily incapacitate them during the first week of November?
I don't know what we can do to fix anything. I don't know what we can do to fix anything as it pertains to parties, because what I think the best way to govern the nation would be more parties, more choice,
more party rocking.
But I don't know how you get to that point, because every time that you have a splinter from one side, it weakens that side, and everyone knows that. In the Green Party is a weakening point for the left. I mean, it's not a huge weakening point.
No, I think Ralph Nader was a long time ago.
Well, they had Jill Stein or whatever this last go.
Yeah, but I mean, I think really nobody knows what the hell she was doing. I mean, that was some crazy stuff. Logan Cook, I have really had you on so long, but this is the fact is, you're really insightful. Besides the memes and the creativity, you're a really good political analyst. Do you anything in the future? Any way do you see to get back into the game? Forget about platforms and that kind of thing, to kind of capture that value.
I've been doing some stuff, but it's mostly sort of behind the scenes stuff. I did some work for Diamond and Silk. I made like a new intro for their show and stuff like that, and I do things from time to time, but I think there will be a time when I get more back into the swing of things. I honestly, I think it will have to do with platforms, because part of my issue is that a lot of my muse and my energy came from the platform, and without it, it's a lot harder for me. It's harder for me to get into it on the day to day, and I sort of need that energy that gets imparted to me. I think that's me telling you what I expect would be a waste of time because I didn't expect any of this already. So I think we'll see how it goes and where it goes from here, because I don't think I can imagine where it's going to go anyway.
Well, it has, it's certainly, like you said, you're already playing with house money in many respects. You've had,
Right.
you've had a lot of fun and gotten to do a lot of things and gotten a lot of, I mean, obviously, what people such as ourselves, which I immediately mean you and I, we like to get attention.
Oh
We
yeah,
like we like people to hear what we have to say and to engage with us, and we like the challenge of engaging with them. And it is an amazing time that at least we could, we have the opportunity to do that kind of thing. Do you have a podcast? You don't even have a podcast.
Well, I used to.
You did, right?
I did, and then I think it went really well. I had really good guests, but I stopped really wanting to put the time in to get the good guests, and I don't think I enjoyed it. Like I think in the future, if I wanted to, I'd get a producer. I'd do all that stuff. I also didn't enjoy producing it at the same time as I'm doing it all. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's some things I could do to rework it and maybe do that again, but it's not something that right now.
Yeah, I mean, hold on a second. Carpe Donktum.
Yes.
Donktum. Just arbitrary. I mean, sure, you've answered this a gazillion times.
It's pretend Latin.
It's pretend Latin. The Carpe is real.
Right.
And Donktum is the Latin for dunking, isn't it? Isn't that actual? Didn't the
I
Romans do a lot of dunking?
I don't know that it's a real word at all, but it was supposed to, it was a pretend
Oh, really?
It was pretend Latin for donkey. So seize that donkey.
Seize that donkey. Thank you for allowing us to seize an hour of your time today, Logan Cook.
No problem.
It's great hooking up with you again after all this time, and let's stay more in touch. I think that we can have some more fun together. Thanks for culminating along.
Thanks for having me, man.
See ya.